Hola! This time I'm going to be taking a leaf out of one of my friend Emma's many books, and I'm going to be taking you on my reading story. My story begins in year 2 of primary school, that's about 7 to 8 I think, and it's the first time that I remember ever having a designated reading time in schools. I might have had it in year 1 or reception, but I can't remember that far back. I'm getting old, you see. I enjoyed reading for the 10-15 minutes we got every day, and it quickly became something that I enjoyed, really, which is strange for school. Yes, I actually enjoyed something. Hey! It became something I enjoyed, and I started reading at home. It was around that time where Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, I think, was released. I'm not sure. I would check the date, but my computer is over there. When I got back home, I would read bits of the Goblet of Fire to my dad, having never read any of the Harry Potters before, and I basically became quite a big fan of the series as a whole. I collected the previous books after reading the Goblet of Fire and read through them. I do want to mention that when I was reading the Goblet of Fire, having never, as I said, read any of the previous Harry Potter books, when, spoilers by the way, if anyone's not read it, when the Weasleys came out of the fireplace to take Harry to the Quidditch World Cup, I didn't know who the Weasleys were. So when they came out of the fireplace, I thought they were actually tiny. They just burst through the fireplace, they were bloody tiny, and yeah, I didn't really realise that they were normal height until I read the first few, but it conjured up some quite fun images. As I grew up, I discovered other authors, Owen Cole for the Artemis Fowl series, and Anthony Horowitz for the Alex Rider series, and reading became my favourite pastime. It was really reading that I enjoyed, and I think a lot of other people should enjoy it as well. I just encourage everyone to read. Go and read. Unless you're doing your homework. Then do your homework and go and read. When high school loomed, it became less of a fun pastime and more of a coping mechanism. It was just books really that helped me through it. They gave me another world, a fresh world where no one bullied me, there wasn't any school, nothing like that. I was just there, I existed as an observer, I wasn't picked on, I wasn't taunted, I wasn't harassed, I wasn't depressed. I was just there in someone else's world, watching everything unfold. That was one of the only things that got me through it, just the fact that I could come home and instantly go into another world. That's really my reading story through high school. They helped me, they were the escapism I needed, and relied on books. It was during high school that I discovered another author called Christopher Paolini. He authored The Inheritance Cycle, and the first 2 books, Aragon and Eldest, were out at the time, and I saw them in one of those Scholastic catalogue things that you get at school and you can order books through your library or whatever. So I got those 2, and they were the first ones really with a proper fantasy world. They got me into fantasy. They had magic, elves, dwarves, dragons, everything like that. I stuck with Christopher Paolini for my my fantasy starter, really. It really got me into fantasy as a whole. Last chapter in my reading story starts when I was about 18, which isn't long ago. I know, I feel old. I'm getting old. I'll be in a care home before you know it. I will. My back's giving out, legs giving out, can't do anything. It was after watching a television programme called Legend of the Seeker. It had all the fantasy elements, you know, swords, magic and whatnot. And I decided to have a look at the books it was based off, and that led me to the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind. It wasn't a series that I'd ever encountered before. No one I knew had read it or even heard of it, and so I took the plunge. There are 11 books currently out, and I bought them all. Read the first one, it's Wizard's First Rule. big thick thing. I really enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was the fantasy world that I've always liked, but it included things that you wouldn't find in other books. Political things, wars with not just the consequences of the soldiers, but also the innocent people around, the whole social aspect of people in these lands, and it's just that level of detail that I really loved from it. It's thought-provoking in ways that other books sometimes aren't. You're questioning a lot more than just the fantasy world itself. I mean, it's all well and good questioning the fantasy world, it gives you deeper interest in the series, but when it affects you in the real world, when it comes to affecting your own beliefs of the real world around you because of how it's been transferred into this fantasy world, I think that brings books a whole new level of enjoyability. It's my favourite series to date and I thoroughly enjoy it. There you have it, that's my reading story up to now. So as the cover closes on my reading story, please like, please subscribe to me, please use the email subscribe thingy. I don't know what it's called, it's a fairly new thing, it bypasses the whole subscription feed fiasco that's been going on. Please share this video. I think all stories deserve to be heard, to be read, and that's why I want you to give your own reading stories as well in the comments down below if you want. Also please check out my friend Emma's channel I mentioned at the start. That should be here, should be a link around there if I've done it right. If not, there's going to be a link below there as well. So thanks for watching. Ciao.